you. Of course, I forgot the recording anyway. As you can see, at the current moment, the forecast stands at 0.1%, while the prior figure stood at 0.5%. And right now, a little bit more in detail about the projections in the historical movement of the indicator. I would like to remind you that the Canadian retail sales rose for a fourth consecutive month in August, beating expectations driven by higher sales of new trucks and also alcohol. The value of Canadian retail sales increased 0.5% to a seasonally adjusted 43.62 billion Canadian dollars in August. At the current moment, it looks like retail sales will likely drag down by the decline in gasoline and are anticipated to come out at 0.1%. Excluding autos and gasoline, Canadian retail sales are expected to have risen by 0.4%. So headline inflation is expected to be little changed, inching up 0.1% in October, which would be enough to push the year-over-year rate of growth up modestly to 1.1% from 1.0% in September, while the core rate is anticipated to be steady at 2.1% year-on-year, and thus mark the 15th consecutive month that core CPI inflation has exceeded the Bank of Canada's 2% target. So let's move on. Here, as always, we have our expert estimates on the matter, and also according to their views, we have the Bloomberg survey summary, where the median estimate stands at 0.1%. Average estimate is 0.03. High estimate is 0.6%, while the low estimate is minus 0.8%. And the total number of estimates has reached only 18 this time. Nevertheless, I would like to mention also one of the comments from Daniel Bayer, the partner and national retail and consumer products industry leader in Canada. So he says that while Canadians may have a little more money in their pockets, retailers must realize that ways to engage consumers are multiplying rapidly. And then he added that to thrive this omni-channel environment, retailers must be quick and agile to deliver the integrated experience consumers want. Then he also added that despite online sales growth, brick and mortar stores is where the majority of shopping takes place, and retailers need to adopt the right technologies and the right attitude to leverage their real estate if they want to delight consumers. And of course, last but not least, our Dukascopy community member sentiment on the USD CAD currency pair. And at the current moment, we can see that the traders went rather bullish on the currency pair at 55.14% bullish votes versus the 44.86% bearish votes. And of course, we also have comments from our community members, but unfortunately, since I don't have any time left, I would like to pass the floor to Max, who will cover the technicals.
Thank you very much, Kate. Hello, everyone, once again. We are having the Canadian retail sales data out in around 5 minutes from now, and also which will be joined by the CPI data from the same country. And actually, even though, for instance, the retail sales are expected to slow slightly down from August and rise by just 0.1% in September, there are still many positive expectations from some separate financial institutions. For instance, Deutsche Bank expects a growth of 0.6%, while Nomura Securities expects an increase of 0.4%. And the same goes actually for the CPI, just the headline reading month-on-month data for October. For instance, JP Morgan Chase and Wells Fargo, they expect to see an increase in the inflation by 0.2% in October, which is higher than the average expectation currently stays. Speaking about the trading strategy, therefore, we're going to discuss the positive surprise trading strategy right now, positive for the Canadian dollar, because we cannot go against the sentiment among our traders. As you can see, the sentiment on the US dollar, Canadian dollar currency pair is bearish right now, and also the pending orders are also set to sell this currency pair at the moment in the vast majority of all the cases. And speaking about the market sentiment provided by other market participants right now, we see that Wanza and daily forex traders are also bearish on the greenback against the Canadian dollar, so they go long on the Canadian currency right now. Speaking about the strategy, the trading strategy itself, as you can see, the cross is at the moment trading at 1.3316 level, and it actually has been somewhat flat in the past couple of hours, and some trader was right that we actually need some volatility for this currency pair finally today, both from the US dollar side and from the Canadian dollars side. Speaking about the possible market reaction after the data is released in some 2 minutes from now, let's have a look at the previous market reactions for this particular currency pair. And actually, in all the 5 months before, we used to have some reactions in the range from 30 up to 40 pips, and the average reaction was exactly 35 pips for this currency pair. Nevertheless, in case we see the data pretty much in line with expectations for both the retail sales and the CPI, we may not see that strong reaction from the currency pair at all. Therefore, we would place the first take profit level at 1.33 major level, which is actually supported by the weekly pivot point support at the moment, which is quite strong demand for the pair where the purchases may actually resume of the US dollar. But in case the data is really positive for Canada, we can see the pair, of course, dipping down to 1.3280, which is the daily pivot point at the moment. We cannot, of course, avoid the possibility of the data being worse than expected today, and in case it happens, we may see the US dollar's value surging higher in the direction of the 1.3350 area, and the pair is likely then to surpass the daily R2 resistance line. Okay, I think we just have got some 30 seconds to go, and I would like to mention the technical indicators because of that. We see that actually the 30-minute ones are pointing sideways at the moment, so no major signs from their point of view. I guess we just have a couple of just seconds to go till the data will be finally released, and I hope we will see the numbers in the chat section for both the core, the headline readings for Canada. Actually, we see some upward reaction, slight upward reaction from the US dollar, Canadian dollar currency pair. We're still waiting for the data to come in. The retail sales, I think we are speaking now about the headline reading. The actual retail sales actually dropped by 0.5% in September. It was worse than expected by 0.1% increase. And the core retail sales have also declined more than expected in September. It went against actually some estimates which I just have presented to you from Deutsche Bank and from Nomura, so they were quite wrong today on the matter. But speaking about Canada's consumer prices, actually we have seen some positive surprise on the headline reading, because the headline CPI went up by 0.2% in October and rebounded from the same amount of decline back in September. While the core CPI for Canada was actually published in line with expectations. And yes, Mimus, it's really great shadow forming now in the chart, because actually initially the pair has increased in value towards the first stop loss level, which is the daily R2 at 1.3340. But during the same minute, the Canadian dollar actually has recovered these last minute's losses of around 25 pips, possibly because of somewhat a bit better than expected CPI data. Even though the retail sales were disappointing, I think now the traders and the market participants are paying even more attention to the CPI data rather than to the retail sales data, because it is pretty much driving the monetary policy of the Bank of Canada, of course. So I think from that point of view, the CPI's influence today used to be a bit larger than from the retail sales point of view. Okay, I guess for now that will be all from my side on the technical part for this particular data release. Thank you very much for your attention. I wish you all, of course, a great weekend ahead. See you all on Monday, and I give the floor back to you, Kate.
Thank you, Max. I believe that you summed up everything very, very good, so no need for me to repeat anything right now. So thank you, guys. Thank you once again, Max. And yeah, you still see the reaction. And meanwhile, I would like to say bye to you all, and thank you very much for your attention. And yeah, see you later. Bye.
There we go. I got a speaker set up now too, I can hear it.